At Carrington, if Mahrez goes to Chelsea, we'll sign Willian. And Sergio Roberto, the midfield utility man from Barcelona, may well be coming to Manchester United as well. Lamar has snubbed Arsenal, so they can't sell Sanchez to City. Lamar's not going to Liverpool, neither's Van Dijk. The way things stand as we sit here, or as I sit here and you might be standing up, at 8 PM on Thursday, the 31st of August, 2017, it's looking, by all means, I will say with a big stroke of luck, but I've said this a few times over the last few weeks. Champions League draw, the first few fixtures we've got. United seem to be in the groove of luck at the moment, and this transfer window with no, or deadline day, with no influence from United at all, could have fallen into our lap. Liverpool's strength over the last 2 days from signing Lamar, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Van Dijk looks like it could just be the Ox, the perennial loser. As I said, doesn't look like Sanchez goes to City and gives Pep a massive chance of winning the title. And United, are we going to do anything? I mean, I still sit in the camp of we won't, but nobody knows where Mahrez is going, I think Chelsea. And if he goes to Chelsea, does that mean that Willian can be done? I mean, we literally have got 3-4 hours left of this transfer window. I'm going to probably stay live with you for about an hour and we'll go through some stuff collectively. But it's been a very, very, very interesting transfer window in general. We've been with you from day one. Drop a like on the video for the night of the United stand. We've been here since May the 1st to August the 31st. It's been a long, long journey, and I think you lot deserve more of a pat on the back than our efforts, because it has been up and down. You know, I can put my hands on my heart and say, look, we've done videos called Sanchez to Manchester United, Bale to Manchester United, Ronaldo to Manchester United, because as ridiculous as they all seem now, and they do seem very ridiculous, at various times during this transfer window, it has been that ridiculous. So it's done. I can't wait for tomorrow. I can't wait to focus on the football. We've got a massive, massive surprise for you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Don't miss that on the United stand. But we live in the now. And Jake Hattersley's made a contribution and he says, Mahrez and Willian spotted in Manchester. Thoughts? Look, Jake, this is transfer deadline day. Who is saying they've seen them? I've seen a picture of Mahrez in a Chevrolet, but it's a very similar picture to Lindelof in a Chevrolet when he signed. Two different people in the seat, in the driving and passenger seat, I admit, but it looks photoshopped to me, to my eye, and I used to do a bit of editing and I reckon I could have done that myself, so not convinced. Dr. Trolley says, people, nothing is going to happen, which reminds me, thank you, Dr. Trolley. What we will do is, you can download the OneFootball app in the link in the video description. As you can see there, it is up on my phone. I follow Manchester United on it, and I'm just going to have a look at what the latest Manchester United transfer news is that it will give us. You've got Mourinho there. He says, Wolverhampton Wanderers in talk with Manchester United over loan for deal for Scott McTominay. Deadline day roundup, Sanchez, Lamar still in limbo as Mbappe goes through. Obviously, Mbappe's gone to PSG. I don't know why that has anything to do with Manchester United. Can Manchester United compete with Jose Mourinho's desired fourth signing? Says the Independent. And Johnny Evans looks like he'll be staying at West Brom. Gary Neville made a pop at Oxlade-Chamberlain, saying he was Liverpool's best player last weekend. Axel Twansibi set for a Hull loan move. Not heard anything about that yet. Sergio Roberto is odds on to complete an Old Trafford switch. Let me just give you the latest on this. You know, like I say, you can get it all on the OneFootball app, link in the video description. It's free to download. But this was from the Red Devils were not expected to carry any business today, but BetStars reckon the 25-year-old is almost a certainty to make a switch, and United still could make late moves for Inter Milan ace Perisic and Danny Rose. At that point, I stop. I stopped reading that because there's just no way we're getting Danny Rose as well. Chelsea fans in meltdown over Willian to Manchester United speculation. Exactly what we were speaking around at lunchtime. This came from Neil Custis in The Sun. I just don't think Chelsea would let Willian go. They've seen what Matic has done. Matic has just doubled his, you know, if you thought Matic was okay, what he's done with being given the freedom under Mourinho at United, he's a much better player than he was at Chelsea last year. A lot about Willian and not a lot else. You can download that for free, the OneFootball app, link in the video description, as I said. Sam Brinkworth says the Mahrez photo is photoshopped. And he has got a game later today, says Zuko. Well, you know what? I don't profess to know everything about every single player. The thing I'd heard was that Mahrez has been given leave by the Algerian squad, but nobody knows where he is. Willian would be the one I would take, but very, very hard to do. But as things stand, and I was talking to Draughty, if people know who the Draughty Devil is, massively involved with the United stand, and I was talking to Draughty about this a little bit earlier, and we were basically talking about how Manchester United, the transfer window in general. And I know that over the last 2 days I've been a little bit frustrated, and I'll admit that I don't really believe that Mourinho has been backed as well as he could have been. He wanted a fourth signing, he didn't get it. But what I would say now is that by a lot of luck, I think we might just get away with it, because the worst case scenario from this transfer window today was Sanchez going to Manchester City, and that was very likely. That was very likely. There was a big chance that was going to happen. I mean, Manchester City apparently and Arsenal had the deal done, but Arsenal then went to Lamar, and Lamar said, get lost, I don't want to play for you. So even with a £92 million bid, which is absolutely hilarious, because it's only a year ago that Wenger said that the Pogba fee was ridiculous, and then a year later he offers 92 million, more than we paid for Pogba, for the French Wayne Routledge. I mean, I like Lamar. I would have welcomed Lamar at United, but if you've been watching the United stand all summer, when did I start talking about Lamar? The last 3 weeks. I wasn't speaking about Lamar in May, June or July, and that's because in May, June and July you're talking about the players you really want. When you hit August, it's like, what's better than no winger? What's better than Ashley Young and Lingard? And of course Lamar is better than that, but the fact Arsenal wanted him and he snubbed them meant that Arsenal now have not been able to let Sanchez go because they've got no replacement. And the brilliance of this, if there are any Arsenal fans watching, is that you are now keeping hold of a player that you could have got £60 million for, that you have just written off. He goes for nothing. He goes for £0 in January when he can sort his deal out. So some weird transfer window. I mean, I expected Ross Barkley to go. So when's he going to go? Is he going to go in the next few minutes? Next few hours, sorry. But I do feel, and let me just give you another name, David De Gea. I never thought that on August the 31st, we would be sat here going into September with David De Gea in goal for Manchester United. We talk about spines. If De Gea had gone to Real Madrid and we had Romero in goal, and you've got Matic, Bailly, Lukaku as that spine, it's nowhere near as strong as De Gea, Bailly, Matic, Lukaku. So that is a massive bonus for Manchester United. I know it's a cliche to say, oh, he's like a new signing, but he is. De Gea was not a player I expected to keep. The only person I really know from the United stand was Ross, who said back in March, he will stay. And I thought, he's talking nonsense. We'll have to get rid of him next season, get somebody else on. But he's been proved right. So very happy about De Gea. Matic has been a revelation. I'm more than happy to say it. He's not the player he was at Chelsea last year. He's gone up about 2 or 3 levels. He's been brilliant. I think Lukaku will prove to be good. Lindelof, I do think will be good. It's a shame we didn't get a winger in, but that is sort of compensated by the fact that none of our rivals have strengthened enough. I mean, I look back to last Saturday when we beat Leicester and we're top of the league. Obviously, we've not strengthened, but I look at the business everyone else has done since then, and I think, no change, no change. City haven't really done anything. Liverpool have bought Oxlade-Chamberlain, wow. And Chelsea have bought, I think they've bought a right back from Italy. You know, maybe Mahrez is going to go somewhere, but I don't think anybody's massively strengthened. And I think the big one for me is that if City had got Sanchez, that would have been a big improvement for them. I think Spurs have gone around their business quite well. Aurier and I don't want to get too much into this because it's more about something we're going to do tomorrow. But I'll leave it there. But I've got a theory on Spurs that it doesn't matter who they sign, it doesn't make any difference. Sohal says that Tottenham have strengthened. Well, I've got a theory on Spurs, but we'll talk about them tomorrow. Ashley Johnson still thinks that City will get Sanchez. Look, there's still a few hours left. My stance at the moment is that they're not going to get him, and I think that's a good day for us. The reality is, many people feel, in the media and everything, and that close to United, feel that United are doing no business today. So United have sat on their hands and done nothing, and if we come out of this day with none of our rivals strengthening, it's nothing to do with what we've done. It's a stroke of luck. Sanchez to City was very close. The only reason it's not happened so far is because Arsenal have blown getting a replacement in. And I'm sure there's plenty of things going on. I still think there is. I just heard somebody say nothing else will happen now, but there's still a lot of players that really should be moving. Ross Barkley's one, Riyad Mahrez is another one, and ultimately, has Coutinho left? Is Coutinho still at Liverpool? You know, Sanchez still at Arsenal. You know, I suppose it's a modern phenomenon really, because if a player wants to go, you get rid of them. But the modern phenomenon is that footballers are such mercenaries. I mean, we've seen Mbappe go from the French champions to the team that came second just for money. He's still playing in a pub league, but he's gone for money at 18. At 18, world at his feet, could have gone to Real Madrid, turned Real Madrid down to go to PSG for money. This is the modern day footballer, I suppose. So even though Coutinho's thrown in a transfer request and desperately wants to leave Liverpool, he may well stay there. And the fans will be chanting Coutinho. I mean, I think you're a mug. But I think Liverpool fans are mugs anyway. Highly doubt Chelsea will sell Willian, not after Matic, says KM. I agree on that. Let's have a look. Anything on Draxler, says H. Well, we're live. We're live. So we'll keep it up to date with what's actually going on. Hashem, who I follow on Twitter. No one gets Lamar. City don't get Sanchez. Liverpool don't get Van der Dijk, and it's a good United transfer window. There is nothing. It's a bit like a game of Where's Wally with Mahrez, I agree. And Ronaldo scored a goal. Lukaku scored, but it is against Gibraltar for Belgium. There's talk that there was an agreement. I mean, just on Mahrez there, I don't know how true it is. There's talk that there was talk between Leicester and Barcelona about Mahrez, but no agreement was done. But Mahrez still travelled to Barcelona. I did see something about Coutinho. I'm just checking it now. I mean, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant in a way, but it's not official yet. Not official at all. Anyway, let's have a look. Odds on Wenger getting the sack must have fallen by now, says Bardista. I'd rather have Willian. Willian would, you know, the Willian deal came out at lunchtime because of Neil Custis. And, you know, as I said, I've never really talked about Willian this summer. We spoke about him last summer because he is the archetypal winger that Mourinho would want, and I think he would be the one. You know, I think he'd take Willian ahead of Matic, to be honest. He absolutely loves him, but never really discussed him this summer. But I would probably take Willian over Perisic, and I was a big advocate of us signing Perisic. I think Willian would have been perfect if we pulled Willian off. I said it again. I said it at lunchtime. If we could pull Willian off, I'm sure he'd be very happy. But in seriousness, if we could pull the Willian deal off, I would be ecstatic. That would be creme de la creme sort of signing. Absolutely perfect. Premier League proven. Can definitely put a cross into the box. Brilliant. Absolutely superb signing. But I don't see it happening because he's playing so well for Chelsea at the moment. I don't see it happening. But Daniel, sorry. Then he changed him to a female. I know you don't want to think this, Mark. But with the signing no winger and the number 7 shirt still open, just near enough the deal for Griezmann is on hold till January or next summer. Griezmann could happen next summer or January. My stance on that is that I don't understand why Manchester United are waiting on any player. We shouldn't do that. When Griezmann led us up the path, which he did, and his agents proved it this week, Griezmann's agent came out and said Griezmann would have been a Manchester United player if Atletico Madrid hadn't got the transfer ban. So if you pay the release clause, Griezmann could have left. So Griezmann chose to stay at Atletico Madrid of his own free will for another year. He chose to snub United for another year. Ultimately, we're Manchester United. You're either in the there's no player bigger than the club camp, or you're not. I am in the camp that Manchester United are bigger than any player, And when Griezmann, for whatever reason, stumbles and messes up our transfer window and makes us wait a year, sorry, we should have done everything we could to find another world-class 7 and said, see you later, you've had your chance, bye. That hasn't happened. So do I next summer say, let's sign Griezmann? Of course I do. Of course I do. Because Griezmann's a player that if you've watched the United stand for the last 2 years, even last year when we signed Pogba, last year, 2 seasons ago, in the May, I was asked the question, what would your dream summer signing be? And it's been Griezmann for the last 2 years. I love Griezmann, perfect number 7. He would be fantastic at United, but I'm not happy that he turned us down. Sean O'Connor says get Pulisic next year. I think Pulisic at Dortmund is a bit too young at the moment, but another year, yeah, I would like him at Manchester United. Fosu Mensah's having a decent game against France, says John Sherrill. I think Fosu Mensah could be the massive positive for United this year, even though he probably won't kick a ball for us this year at Crystal Palace. Mark, are there any signings made by other clubs that genuinely worry you? I'm not so sure there's many. That's a great question from Grant Walker. And from a United perspective, am I worried by any signings made by anybody else? Morata. I like Morata. I would have welcomed Morata at Manchester United. He won't flop. He'll get a lot more assists than Lukaku. That's the strength of his game. But he'll also score a lot of goals. Morata won't flop. I like him. I don't really like the Morata v Lukaku comparison because we wanted Morata first. Mourinho's #1 target was Morata, but dealing with Real Madrid was always a nightmare, and I called it in May, as many of you did, that they would want De Gea as part of a deal. When we said no De Gea, but Morata wanted to come to United, they were whacking the price up ridiculously. And then we get Lukaku, and then they sell him for a really realistic price to Chelsea. So Morata's a good signing, but we've got Lukaku. I would have preferred Morata. Lukaku surprised me, but now we've got him. I back the signing, back the manager, back Lukaku, and I think he will prove to be a success. But I do think Morata's a good signing. I would like to have signed them both, but to be honest, would we have spent 130 million on 2 strikers? Matthew McFadden's made a contribution. I'll read that in a minute. Anybody else I'm fearful of? Nobody else at Chelsea. I don't think Bakayoko's all that. Arsenal, forget that. Liverpool, no. I don't think Salah's United quality. I think he'll do well, but he's not United quality. He's a bit like Mane. Don't think they're United quality, to be honest. Oxlade-Chamberlain, no. City signings, Mendy. I like Mendy, but is a left back going to win you the league? So Bernardo Silva, I was always a bit like that. We didn't need Bernardo Silva because we've got Mata and we've got Mkhitaryan, and arguably Silva's better than them, but we didn't need another player like that. So realistically, if I'm totally honest, off the top of my head, the only 2 Premier League signings I'm sort of envious of, or I think they're good players, are Morata and Silva. Sorry, not Silva, Mendy. Matthew McFadden says, thanks for contribution, Matthew. You can contribute through the super chat option at the bottom. Remember, we are live for another 45 minutes because it's transfer deadline day. So we are going to stay live and react to stuff for a bit. So remember to share the video, like it, retweet it, and let's get as many people involved from a United perspective as possible. So Matthew McFadden says, people seem to be speculating that someone will join in January due to the vacant number 7. However, I'd much prefer us to wait for the summer for someone who really fits the shirt rather than any random player. Matthew, thanks for the comment. And also, Gary Wells, I'll answer your question as well. We won't sign Griezmann in January. I'll eat my shoes, and I know Paddy Ashdown got that wrong. Political. But we will not sign Griezmann in January. It won't happen. I've been saying this for ages, and I even see journalists now saying it as if they're the ones pontificating about it. We've spoken about it all summer. We won't sign Griezmann in January because he will be in the Champions League with Atletico Madrid. He will be cup tied for us. We will know in January if we've got a good chance of winning the title. So signing Griezmann in January benefits nobody. He's a summer signing, and it could happen next summer, but not in January. And also, Mourinho's already said we won't sign anyone in January. So forget the January transfer window. Unless we go and get 4 or 5 major injuries, we won't be signing anybody. We've obviously got a few Liverpool fans on because, or Liverpool, well, you can't be a United fan because I nearly said Liverpool sympathisers, because if you're a United fan, you can't genuinely sympathise with Liverpool. So Gary Wells said that Mane is definitely United class. No, he's not. And Hassan has said Salah is class, Mark. Oh, come on, Hassan, educate yourself in Salah's history. He was a 100% flop at Chelsea. He's done okay at Liverpool, but Liverpool have played teams that allow them to play. They played Arsenal last week. Arsenal basically go up north, drop the pants, bend over, offer you the lube and say, take me. That's what Arsenal do up north. What United will do at Anfield, and what any decent side will do at Anfield, is go up 2 banks of 4, let the Anfield faithful go moan about parking buses and watch us come away with a point at least. That's how you beat Liverpool. That's how you stop Liverpool beating you. If you go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, it's a bit like going toe-to-toe with any team that plays pressing, expansive football. They will get as many chances as you've got. If you play tactically against Liverpool, he's got no, the alphabet stops at A with Klopp. He's got no plan B. But Arsenal, they've got no brains. They will try and do it. Marcus is on. Andrew Gardner hates Chelsea and City more than Liverpool. Ben Thomas says there's a rumour of 45 million bid is accepted for Mahrez. If that meant we get Willian, be very happy with the transfer window, says Ben Thomas. There's nothing more I would like to be doing later on at around 11 o'clock, reacting live to a Manchester United signing. And at this late stage, even though I don't really want Riyad Mahrez, I would take him over nothing, because at least he's a winger who can put a cross in the box. Zlatan will win us the league, says Aaron. Business done for Manchester United, says Matt Burnett. That's the general consensus. Griezmann to replace Mata, says Jackson Mandart. How did Spurs get Aurier for 25 million? We need some serious negotiators at United, says Jinnen. Well, obviously we spoke about Aurier to United a few weeks ago, and there was a lot of talk that would be a genuine deal for United, and I was very positive about it. I like Aurier. I think he's a good signing for Spurs, but let's not forget we can't offer Aurier the right back position. Spurs can. Ferris Odie says we should go toe to toe with Liverpool because it shows we fear them if we don't. I disagree with that, Ferris. I disagree with it only because we are not good enough yet to go to places like Anfield, the Etihad, Stamford Bridge, and go toe to toe with teams in their own backyard. We're not good enough yet. I don't think there's actually any team in the Premier League that's good enough to go to somebody, even come to Old Trafford and go toe to toe with us. They don't. They'll always have, that security blanket, and that's just the way the Premier League is at the moment. And even when we were dominant under Sir Alex, even in '99 and the year after that when we won the title, we'd go and impose ourselves at Anfield in that, but we'd also be careful not to go too gung-ho. And the reason is simple. It's normally the cup final, whoever we go to, and it certainly is at Anfield. When United roll into town, it's their cup final. I've watched Liverpool games in the last few years, and it's like a morgue at Anfield. It's very, very quiet. United roll into town, cup final day. They get the expectations up in the players, and they're up for the fight. So you've got to be disciplined. You've got to be disciplined. I've got no problem with that. When they roll into Old Trafford, let's batter them. Chad Sproul says, United won't sign anybody. Are you annoyed, Mark? I'd be a hypocrite to say I wasn't annoyed. I'm not happy that we didn't get that fourth signing for Mourinho, which is a winger. And I still think come October, November, December, we could be looking back at this week or this summer and going, Mourinho wanted a winger. He never got one. If we had got one, we'd be winning. We'd be comfortably winning this league. That could still happen. But my frustration at that has sort of died down a lot today, because I think we've got away with it. I think we've really got away with it through no input from United at all. We've had nothing to do with this, but I just think we've been lucky that Sanchez hasn't gone to City, because that would have strengthened City, and that Liverpool haven't got Lamar and Van Dijk, because that would have strengthened them. And I don't think Liverpool would ever win the league, but let's not forget they finished above us, and they potentially have made better signings than us in positions they needed to improve in. So I'm not feeling totally negative about anything today, because I feel at the moment we've got away with it. I am frustrated we didn't get a winger in, but I follow at Mourinho Mindset, which is a fantastic name anyway on Twitter, and he's very funny. and he's been messaging us today about stuff. I mean, Alexis Sanchez actually liked a tweet from that Arsenal fan who did the song saying "Stay now" or something like that, which is ridiculous. But he says the only thing that makes sense now is that Mahrez is on his way to Manchester on foot. No way has he went on a plane and it's taken this long. What time does the transfer window officially end? Because time is running out. And I think the only place that Mahrez has travelled is Barcelona in the hope that they would sign him. And Ross Barkley has apparently rejected Chelsea. I mean, Ross Barkley's an interesting one. I really did think he would move. And the fact that he, I mean, not to United, I would have took him at United. But I really did think he would move. But nothing happening. Nothing happening at the moment. We're just keeping abreast of it for you. Mbappe to PSG for financial fair play has taken the L, says Jinan. Well, we're going to talk about... Well, I'm not going to give too much away because it's a surprise tomorrow night. But we'll talk about some of that as well. Cameron Moriarty is right. It could drag on to 1 AM if all the paperwork was done. What I can say is that there will be transfer deals that are definitely going to happen, and they are trying to push them through, but as of now they're not happening. That was probably one of the worst things I've ever said in the United Stand when I'm trying to do something else, and the people who watch regularly will know I was trying to do something else then. A relevant comment. Fabinho, Sean O'Connor says, yeah, interesting. Interesting that he will stay at Monaco. I think he wanted to go to PSG. Another money grabber. Jordan Curley's fuming. I wanted us to sign someone. I do empathise with that, Jordan. I've got to be honest with you, because I was moaning a bit yesterday. But to be honest with you, what I sort of said to myself this morning was that if we can come out of today and Sanchez hasn't gone to City, I don't mind. If we haven't signed anyone, we haven't signed anyone. I mean, what's better for United? Willian, we get Willian, Sanchez gets City. Yeah, I'd take that. I'd rather improve where we need to improve and have a bloody good go at City. But no Willian, no winger, no Sanchez to City. I'd take that as well. XX Ultimate Gamer, Mark, please shout me out. I made a £10 bet with a friend. I'd get a shout out before the window closes. I just started to read that statement, so you've just won a tenner. Mark, when transfer window shuts, will you be doing the show morning and night still, says Mark Mohammed. I don't know. The plan was never to do that. All I can say is watch this space. Tomorrow night we've got something that we're going to announce, and there's a yes and no answer to that. Man United not going to sign anyone. Get over it, dude, and wake up, says Javi T. Look, I don't know whether people think I'm trumping at the bit for us to sign anybody. I'm not. I'm very relaxed. I suppose I'm relaxed because I know that Sanchez isn't going to go to City. Well, never say never. But you know what? I am relaxed about that. I'm not fearful of anything our rivals have done. And that was my big concern today, that we'd sit back and do nothing and watch our rivals strengthen themselves, which I think is bad. And ultimately, that's still bad. Even if we get away with it, it's nothing to do with what we've done today. It's still bad that we've not backed our manager to get in that player. But I think the chances of us winning the title may have been strengthened today by the fact that our rivals have done nothing. I'm also very happy that the transfer window is going to be shut. I've had enough of this one. As I said last night, I love transfers. I love the transfer window. I love watching lots of football from around Europe. And I go into it in May enthusiastic, and that probably continues right until it ends in July for me. I think once August comes along and the season starts, it becomes to be a bit of a pain. I want to just focus on the football. So I'm only a few hours away from the end of the transfer window, which is great. And you never know in that last few hours. I don't expect it, but we could be stunned by a United signing as well. So it's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling. I'm guessing Marcus does the morning show and Mark the evening show, says Major Han. No, we don't need to go down markets. The Glazers are a disgrace, says Star Blogger. Pereira stays, says H13. I've purposely stayed quiet about that because obviously you would all know that I love Andres Pereira. I want him to stay at United. So it's not over yet, is it? And I don't want to start saying Pereira's staying yet. I'll keep that back to tomorrow. Sandeep's also had enough of this stupid transfer. Mike Michaels Ionil says, is Willian realistically possible? No, I don't think it is. I would never have said Willian was possible. He's playing fantastically well at Chelsea. We've already mugged them off with Matic and shown what a mistake that was. Why would they make the same mistake again? I think Chelsea would need to be signing somebody, which they don't seem to be. I would never believe Willian was coming to United. I would welcome him to United. I would have spoken to him a lot. I would have spoken about Willian and how he would improve United this summer a hell of a lot more. I don't think we've even done a show on Willian until a few hours ago. I just never expected us to sign him. And the only reason we're talking about him now is because Neil Custis did a tweet from The Sun. And he's been very good about Manchester United news this summer. So I suspect there was something in it, and we may well have tried to get him. But trying to get someone and getting them is two different things. And I don't think Chelsea would be stupid enough to sell him. And I'll categorically say it now. Chelsea would be stupid to let Willian go. William Carvalho says, Javi T. There's always somebody. Who's going to say the next one about Blind? Jose considers Andres Pereira as a CDM, but I think he can be a player on the wing, says Sandy. Yes, he can. He definitely can. Kayam Ali says, have you heard about Renato Sanchez to Swansea? Yeah, we talked about it last night, mate. Be interested to see what happens with him. Sanchez will be free next summer, Kieran. Yeah, he'd probably go to City for free. I can't understand that comment. Andrew Hoare says it's one story too far from Neil Custis. Yeah, he potentially has ruined his credibility on the last day of the transfer window. He would have come out with it. You know, The Sun, if you're not from the UK, The Sun newspaper has a terrible reputation, especially up north, deservedly, because of its coverage of Hillsborough many years ago. But Neil Custis, I've met Neil Custis. I met him last year, actually, at an awards day at Old Trafford, and he's very passionate about Manchester United, and he's very passionate about Wayne Rooney, big defender of Rooney, and we had a conversation actually, and I said Rooney was finished and he wouldn't have it. So that's why when he said Rooney was leaving, 3 days before anybody really got hold of it, I knew it was true, because he would never want Rooney to leave United. So he got a couple of things right this summer. It looks like the Willian thing. Well, does he get it wrong? Does he really get it wrong? Maybe United did put a bid in. Mark, are you watching Arsenal Fan TV Season 13, Episode 4 on September the 9th? It's going to be one of the funniest episodes. Last one was legit comedy. That's from Dracula 50. Dracula, sorry. Thanks for the comment, Dracula. I presume you just mean Arsenal Fan TV after they lose again on September the 9th. Window closes at 11 PM, so that's 2.5 hours time. The chances are we won't get a winger, but we have quite a few good players anyway, says Curly on. Blind can play in the midfield, says Brody Hanley. Thumb up, mate. You're with it. And Shaka, I agree with you. Mark, we need 2 players to win the Champions League. If you could pick 2 Galacticos to add to this current United squad, who would it be? My 2 would be Pulisic and Verratti. I wouldn't even go for 2 Galacticos. You know what? I think we could really seriously challenge for the Champions League if we'd got Perisic and we'd got a backup fullback either side. You know, let's not be greedy and get both either side. So if we'd got Perisic and Aurier, I would have fancied us more in the Champions League. I don't think we've got the squad depth for the Champions League. I think it's got to all be about the Premier League now. Fosumen's the best player in the first half against France. a lot of people saying that United will walk the league. I think we're all feeling a lot more confident, to be honest, because Sanchez hasn't gone to City. There's a lot. You know what? I firmly believe that you should always try and smile. And I've just looked on Twitter. Let me read you the tweet so that it gives you a bit of context. So, who is this person for a start? Well, he's got a lot of followers, 174,000. He's a reporter for BuzzFeed News, or whatever they are. He says, I've lost his tweet now. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, I can find it now. He says, I was just 8 when Princess Diana died. I remember seeing the news, pausing for a moment and then whispering to my mum, thank God Twitter doesn't exist. He got a lot of retweets for that. He's obviously one of those clever student types. Nothing against students, by the way. But funny story. I wasn't 8 when Princess Diana died 20 years ago. I was well into my teens, but she obviously died in the early hours of the morning. It was the early hours of a Sunday morning, and I got woken up at 4 o'clock by my mother, who came in and went, Diana's died. Well, my mum used to be very passionate about horses, so she used to go and have she used to go and do horse shows like on a Sunday. So she'd get up early, and I'd go, oh, I just remember sitting up and go, oh, that's really sad, thinking she was talking about a horse. And she was like, yeah, I don't know what the kids are going to do. And I was like, horse having kids, half awake, half asleep. She was on about Princess Diana. She was a big Princess Diana fan. But yeah, I thought it was a horse that had died. Coutinho goes to Barcelona, please, says Luis Navas. How would you feel if Phil Jones got sold, says Peter Harrison. Not bothered. Oh, I don't want to go down conspiracy theory. Michael Blomley's going off on his conspiracy theories about Princess Diana's death. No, retract. I was just telling a funny story. Don't want anything like that. Why are people saying that I'm a racist? I don't know where that's come from at all. You have a mean face, Mark. No offence, says Modern Mexican. You couldn't be more wrong. David Richards with I'd seen this from Dorset Police today. Says if you're driving around and trying to keep up with the latest transfer news, beware, if you get caught, you'll end up with more points than Arsenal. That was from Dorset Police, but there we go. Would you still like to see Griezmann at United in January or next summer? Elliot Hobday, he's not going to sign in January. If he comes in the summer, he's welcome. Cal Davis says United haven't been mentioned all day by Sky Sports News, so clearly nothing happening. Fortune's asking who will wear the number 7. I would imagine it will stay vacant again. Do we need a left back? A winger is important, but don't you feel that Shaw out? There's a lot of pressure on Luke Shaw, James, to be honest. We need him to stay fit. Lukaku scored 2 times and they're winning 6-0. They're playing Gibraltar. Gibraltar are worse than the French league. They are a pub team. Mark, I'm Indian and I don't think you're racist. Think you're a top bloke. I don't actually know where the racist things come from. I've just seen a couple of people going on about it, but no. John Bridges is a racist because he's just said go and wipe that spaghetti off your chin because of my Italian surname. People say Messi is going to City, but Messi don't want to go. You can't look. One thing I can tell you in the knowledge I have about football is you can't at 8 o'clock at night say I'm going to sign Messi. It's not FIFA 17. You can't just go I'm going to sign Messi. That takes months. You can't do it. And Sky is not credible, says Brody Hanley. Yeah, they're not. But as I've said to you, if United were going to sign somebody today, it needed to be ticking along from at least late morning. It can't happen with 2.5 hours of the window left. It cannot happen. I think there will be a deal that happens. I don't know. I think Ross Barkley's got to leave Everton. They've signed players in sort of banking on him leaving. So I think Barkley to Chelsea I think will happen. Potentially Spurs. But any other deal, I don't know. It's an interesting one, but I can't see United pulling one off now. I'd love them to pull somebody off, but I don't see it happening. Fortune, my thoughts on Stan Kroenke at Arsenal. I'll give you that tomorrow. 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Don't miss it. Really, really good. We've been planning this for a while. It's ridiculous with the transfer window. You should never launch anything new when the transfer window is on because everyone's obsessed by that. So we've got something brand new for you tomorrow. Hi Mark, says Kai Parker. Or Kai Parker. Hello. Barkley will go to Tottenham, says G2G. Mark, do you remember the Perisic will sign in 48 hours reports, said Jamie. Yeah, I remember the same with Morata as well. It's been an odd summer. It's been a transfer window I won't be unhappy to see the back of. And what I would say about this transfer window, in total honesty on my part, and I think you lot have got to be honest about this as well, if in May, I remember, and the tweet's not been deleted because I don't believe in that, but I remember the Europa League final, with about 60 seconds left, I was pretty confident we were going to win it. And I tweeted off the United Stand account, which I don't do very often anymore. And I tweeted, welcome to Manchester Griezmann. And it got a lot of retweets. Because I was convinced we were going to sign Griezmann. And we were going to sign him. We know we were going to sign him. We know the reason why we didn't. But when that euphoria of the Europa League had died down, and I knew we had Champions League football, and I knew what Mourinho had done without Champions League football, and there was this talk of this Europa League list and the Champions League qualification list. If you'd have said to me then, you know, all we're going to sign is Lukaku, Lindelof and Matic, I wouldn't have done anything stupid, but I think I probably would have cried. I really think I would have cried. I would have gone, what? You are joking. That is not good enough. It's not good enough. Lukaku, Lindelof and Matic, you having a laugh? Is he having a laugh? I would not have been happy at all because I expected a hell of a lot more. To be at the other end of that transfer window, and I think a lot of people, if they were honest with themselves, would have said the same. To be at the other end of the transfer window with Lindelof, Lukaku and Matic, I'd like to speak to that person at the end of May who would have been going absolutely mad, that's not good enough, and say, look, Matic has been brilliant. He's nothing like the player you think he is from Chelsea. He's been set free by Mourinho. He's not under the cloud of Kante. He's doing really well. Lukaku, yeah, his first touch isn't great, but he's a trier. He's got speed. He's got power. He's pushing defences back, which Zlatan never could. Lindelof, I think, will be good. But what I would say is, even now, it's not been good enough as a transfer window. Personally, I don't think it has. He should have got the 4 signings he wanted. We've not improved the areas we needed to improve. We've improved 2 major ones. We needed a striker and we needed a centre defensive midfielder. But we didn't get everywhere covered that we should have done. But I think, luckily, we've got away with it, as I said, because I don't really think our rivals have improved that much over the summer either. So we might get away with it. Jay Walford says, read this if Man City are rubbish. Well, I've read it, Jay. I wouldn't say they're rubbish. I don't think they're going to win the league. Happy birthday, says Batworm YouTube Gaming. Oh, has Llorente signed for Spurs? Spurs have left it very, very late. Did they get Andre Gomez as well? I mean, Spurs have actually left it very late, but potentially had a better transfer window than us. John Bridges, don't worry, I thought you were joking anyway. BBC are reporting, Matthew Morgan's messaged me, that Chelsea have been turned out. Yeah, Chelsea have taken more L's than a word with a lot of L's in it. Because Danilo turned them down, Oxlade-Chamberlain turned them down, Lukaku's turned them down, and now maybe Barkley's turned them down. Why would you turn the champions down? Must be some reason for it. Johnny Evans has got to be one of the funniest ones of the summer as well. City and Arsenal trying to get Johnny Evans over the line. I mean, this is a United reject, let's be honest. I like Johnny Evans. He seemed like a real trier, but he was welcome to leave United when he did. The fact that City and Arsenal were after him is funny. I'm just having a quick look for you to see if anything else is going on. Here's an interesting one for you. So Stan Collingwood's tweeted out a poll saying the best window so far: City, United, Liverpool or Chelsea. And it's quite tight. Manchester United are winning with 30%. City 27%, Liverpool 20%, 7%, Chelsea 16%. I wouldn't underestimate Chelsea's transfer window, to be honest. I think Morata is a better signing. I mean, what have Liverpool done in the transfer window? Oxlade-Chamberlain, Salah, Robertson. I think Morata can be more impactful than them three. United's transfer window being good, I would agree with. It could have been better. City's transfer window, they've bought a lot of defenders and they can't buy a clean sheet. Yeah, like I say, I think we've got away with it because I don't think our rivals have actually improved as much as that I thought they would. Fifth Mellow Music's made a contribution. He says, just a question for you, Mark. If you could, any United player, former or current, in their prime, who would you pick? Greetings from Denmark. Look, if I could bring any United player back, prime or not, current or retired, it's a great question because it's like, do I do it based on what the current team needs to improve on? Because there was a tweet off the United Stand account this morning which I really agreed with, which I'd sign David Beckham now in his 40s because he's still got a better cross than anybody in our current squad. I'd be looking at Giggs or Beckham at the moment, just because that's the position we need to improve on. My honest answer, and I've said it numerous times over the years I've been doing the United Stand, is Roy Keane, because Roy Keane is just the best player I've seen for United. Not just his ability, but his passion and leadership is unparalleled by anybody I've seen. I mean, Robson was good, but I was very young when Robson was playing for United, and then his latter years just weren't comparable to what Keane did. So from what I've seen, it would be Roy Keane. But I look at what we've got at the moment with Matic and Pogba, and we're doing okay. So if it's what we need to improve, I'd go Beckham or Giggs for the crossing ability. But if you're asking me what player I would bring back, it would be Keane. You can't disregard Ronaldo either. I haven't included best as Matty does FIFA has because I haven't seen him play. If you're talking players like that, then of course. YouTube does have a new feature to share content. There's a share button underneath. Just click share and share it on Twitter and all that jazz. Tashfir says we should have gone for Draxler. Nobody else has, so maybe he was never available. And what about Cantona, says Tracy Jordan? Yeah, I mean, we've been so lucky. We've been so lucky. We've had so many great players, and everyone will have different ones. I'm not picking Roy Keane because he's Irish, because I'm not actually Irish. I love Ireland. I lived there for 3 years, but I wouldn't pick Roy Keane because of that. I mean, I'm surprised nobody said I didn't pick him because he played for Forest. I mean, that's the normal one. The Fifth Mellow Music's come back and said, personally, I would choose Cantona, and thanks. Yeah, but somebody just did. Good one. John Carlos, we haven't signed anybody yet. And to be honest, we've been live for an hour. There's 2 hours left of this window, and we're not going to sign anybody. I don't want to say it for definite because you never know in football. It's been an odd transfer window, but there's a lot of people saying there's nothing going to happen with United. just burying somebody on Twitter. That's what I was typing for. And it's on Twitter anyway, so you can know what I was doing. Okay, let's have a look. Mourinho mindset, if you want to kill a couple of hours, is still going on about Mahrez. He wants us to sign Mahrez, and he can't get his head around how Mahrez can go to leave the Algerian squad, but nobody knows where he's signing. Maybe he wanted a move and he just couldn't find one himself. The One Football app is in the link in the video description. It's free to download. It's really good for all your stats and stuff and your latest Manchester United transfer news. I'm just going to have one little look for you again to see if anything's popped up. There it is. Link, just so you know that I'm actually not reading nonsense out. So Manchester United reportedly make shock for Brazilian star, that is Willian. Manchester United have rejected a number of proposals for James Wilson. Let's have a quick look at this one. It's quite interesting. He was on loan at Derby last year, but he had a cruciate ligament injury. And they want to keep an eye on his recovery until January. He's not fit till January. That's the answer with James Wilson. So he's not going to be available to play games. Usain Bolt saying that Van Nistelrooy made him a red. And they've got some exclusive pictures of Ibrahimovic training in the gym. Matty Willock's gone on loan to FC Utrecht, another youth lad. Perisic could still sign. The link's in the video description for that. One Football app, free to download and very, very good. I know when it's time to shut the show down. We've lost about 500 views in the last 5 minutes, so I know when people are getting bored. And to be honest with you, I'm getting a little bit bored. There's not a hell of a lot going on. If something did happen with United that was worth going live about, I certainly will do it. But as I said, we've got fantastic show for you lined up tomorrow night. The transfer window will be shut, which is fantastic, I believe. I've had enough of it. 8 o'clock tomorrow night on the United stand, we will reveal. And it's something we're really excited about. And I think a lot of you will be as well, because you've been on about it for a long time. So we're live tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Join us for that. Unless something happens in the next couple of hours, which I would love. I would absolutely love it. You would see Happy Mark if we sign somebody. But thanks everyone who's joined me. Thanks everyone who's joined in over the excuse me, bit of too much beer there. Thanks to everybody personally again, and from the United stand. It's not just personal from me. Thanks to everybody who's got involved over the summer on the transfer shows. 7 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 at night, sometimes going live at 11:30 at night because of a new story breaking. I thought we'd get more than Lindelof, Lukaku and Matic for all we've been linked to, but it is what it is. Under Sir Alex Ferguson, we used to have summers of talk and no action, so it's better than that. But thanks everyone. Interesting development, exciting thing for you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll see you for that. If not before, who knows? We will be live if something happens. But until then, thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on the video. And thanks everyone for getting involved. Nice to spend the evening with you. And I shall speak to you all very soon.